You say you have no time. But let me ask you this. If tomorrow a doctor told you that you have only 6 months left to live, would time suddenly appear? Would your calendar empty itself? Would the meetings that seemed so urgent vanish? Of course they would. And do you know what this tells me? You do not lack time. You lack the awareness that you are dying right now. At this very moment, every heartbeat is one you will never get back. You are not waiting to live. You are spending your life, and most of you are spending it on things you would not choose if you truly understood that your hours are coins you can never earn again. Today, I will show you that waking up to this one truth changes everything. Think about what happens in that moment, in that doctor's office, when you receive such news. Suddenly, everything becomes clear. The meeting you were dreading, you simply will not go. The grudge you have been nursing for years, it evaporates like morning mist. The project you thought was so important, you see it for what it is, someone else's priority, not yours. The dinner party you felt obligated to attend, you realize you never wanted to go in the first place. In 6 months, when you know your time is counted, you become fiercely protective of every hour. You become conscious. You wake up. But here is my question. Why do you need a terminal diagnosis to live this way? Why must you wait until time is visibly running out to realize it has been running out all along? From the moment you were born, the hourglass started emptying. Death is not something that will happen to you someday. It is happening right now. With every breath you take, by the end of our time together today, you will understand something most people spend their entire lives running from. You have enough time. You always have. The exhaustion you feel, the sense that life is passing you by, the guilt that follows you through your days, these do not come from having too little time. They come from being unconscious while time passes. Let me be clear about what I mean. You are here, right now, listening to these words. But where is your mind? Are you fully present, or is part of you already thinking about what you need to do after this? That split, that division of attention, that is what I mean by unconsciousness. You are physically here but mentally scattered across a dozen different concerns, and so you are not truly anywhere. You feel crushed under obligations that seem endless. You bargain with yourself. After this deadline, after this debt is paid, after the kids are older, after I get that promotion, after I retire, then I will finally have time for myself. But that time never comes. Do you know why? Because you are living in a fantasy. You are believing that life exists in 2 parts, the part you are suffering through now and the part you will enjoy later. But there is no later, there is only now, and you are spending it waiting. Or worse, that time does come. You retire, the kids move out, the debt is paid, and you discover something terrifying. You have forgotten how to live. You spent so many years postponing your life that when you finally have the time, you do not know what to do with it. You sit there with all this freedom and realize you have no idea who you are or what you actually want. This is one of the saddest things I have witnessed. People who spent their entire lives running toward a finish line, and when they cross it, they discover there is nothing there. You watch others seeming to have found some secret. They appear calm, present, alive in a way you are not. You wonder what is wrong with you, why you cannot seem to slow down, to enjoy anything, to be here now. Let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with you. You have simply never been taught how to live. You were taught how to be productive, how to be useful, how to please others, how to accumulate things. But living, being present to your own existence, no one teaches that. We are born with this capacity. As children we have it naturally, but it gets trained out of us. We learn to worry about the future, to regret the past, to measure our worth by external achievements, to fill every moment with doing so we never have to face just being. And now here you are, decades into a life you are not truly living, wondering why it feels empty. You are tired. Not the tiredness that sleep cures. The tiredness of spending your life on things that do not matter to you, of saying yes when you mean no, of filling every moment with distraction so you never have to face the question, is this how I want to live? This is exhaustion of the soul. It comes from living divided. Part of you knows you are wasting your life, but another part feels powerless to change it. You are like a man standing in a river, complaining that he is wet, but refusing to step onto the shore. The solution is obvious, but you cannot see it because you have convinced yourself that the river is the only place to be. Everyone else is in the river, after all. Surely this is just how life is. No, not everyone. There are people who have learned to step out of the river, and I am going to show you how. I do not come to you as one who has always known wisdom. I come as one who learned it the hard way, and that is perhaps why I can teach it well. I know what it is like to waste years, decades even, chasing after things I did not even want, believing I was building a life when I was merely building a prison. Let me tell you about my own prison. I accumulated wealth that brought no peace. Every coin I earned, I worried about losing. Every property I acquired made me responsible for more concerns, not fewer. I had influence, access to powerful people, a name that people recognized. And do you know what that brought me? Anxiety, the fear of losing it, the exhaustion of maintaining it, the realization that none of it made me happy. I had accomplishments that meant nothing when I looked back on them. I had given speeches that people applauded, written works that people praised, advised emperors on matters of state. And yet, when I sat alone in the evening, I felt empty, because I had spent my days performing for others and no time at all in my own company. And then something shifted. I was exiled, and in that exile, I learned to wake up. Not once, but daily. To return again and again to this moment, this breath, this irreplaceable day. What I offer you today is not more time. I cannot give you that. No one can. What I offer you is consciousness, the ability to be present to your life while you are living it, not after it has passed. The understanding that most of what fills your calendar does not need to be there, that you are permitted, no, you are obligated, to guard your time as fiercely as you would guard your life, because they are the same thing. When someone steals an hour of your time, they have stolen an hour of your life. Would you let someone take an hour of your life? Then why do you give it away so freely? This is not about doing more with less. That is what the productivity experts will tell you. Optimize, streamline, be more efficient. But efficiency in the service of the wrong things is just a faster way to waste your life. No, this is about doing what matters with full attention. It is about waking up from the trance of postponement and realizing you are alive now. This is it. This is your life. Not someday. Not when conditions are perfect. Now. Will you meet it, or will you let it pass by while you attend to everyone else's urgencies? I will not give you time management tricks or productivity systems. The world does not need you to be more productive. We have enough productivity. We have people working themselves to death to produce things no one needs. What the world needs, what you need, is to be awake, to be present, to live deliberately instead of sleepwalking through your days. I will show you how to see through the illusions that make you feel trapped, how to recognize that most of what you think you must do, you do not. How to reclaim your life, not by doing more, but by becoming present to what you are already doing. Let me begin by telling you how I learned this. Not from books, though I have read many. Not from philosophy alone, though I have studied deeply. I learned it from watching men die. And I do not mean watching the final moment. I mean watching them die slowly, over years, while they were still breathing. Let me tell you about some of these men, and as I do, see if you recognize yourself in any of them. There was a man of immense fortune. When I say immense, I mean wealth beyond what most people can imagine. Vast lands stretching farther than a man could ride in a day. Countless slaves attending to every need. Influence that reached into the emperor's chambers. When he spoke, senators listened. When he acted, markets moved. Everyone wanted to be him. Everyone envied his life. But I knew something they did not. He was miserable. Utterly, completely miserable. And the tragedy was, he did not even know it. He was so busy being rich that he never stopped to ask himself if he was happy. He spent every hour managing his wealth. Every hour. He would wake before dawn to review accounts. He would meet with stewards, with merchants, with moneylenders. He would calculate, strategize, defend his position. He attended to people he despised because they were useful to him. He smiled at men he loathed because they had influence. He threw elaborate parties he did not enjoy because it maintained his status. His entire life was a performance, and he had long ago forgotten who he was beneath the performance. One day, illness struck him, not fatal, but severe enough that he was confined to his bed for several weeks. At first, he was frantic. Who would manage his affairs? Who would attend to his business? But as the days passed and he lay there in that stillness, unable to do anything but exist, something happened that had not happened in 40 years. He had a thought he had never allowed himself before. What have I done with my life? It was not a philosophical question, it was a genuine shock. He realized, lying there, that he could not remember the last time he had done something simply because he wanted to. He could not remember the last time he had taken a walk without it being strategic, to be seen in the right places. He could not remember the last conversation he had that was not transactional. He knew his slaves better than his children. He could name every asset he owned, but could not tell you what his daughter's hopes were or what troubled his son. He thought once he secured his fortune, he would finally live. But security never came. There was always one more threat, one more rival, one more piece to acquire. The goal kept moving. The finish line kept receding. And now he was 55, exhausted, and just beginning to realize he had traded his life for things that would vanish the moment he died. When he recovered, he came to me. We had known each other for years but never spoken deeply. Now he wanted to talk. "Tell me," he said, and there was desperation in his voice. "How much time do I have left?" I could not answer, of course. No one can. But I saw in his eyes the real question. How much time have I already wasted? The answer, which I gave him gently, was this: nearly all of it. I watched his face as I said it. He did not argue. He did not defend himself. He simply nodded, as if I had confirmed what he already knew. 40 years, I continued. 40 years you have spent building an empire you do not enjoy. You have secured your fortune, but you have lost your life in the process. You thought you were building something. You were not. You were trading your days, your only irreplaceable possession, for things that cannot save you. He asked me what he should do now, and I told him what I tell you. It is not too late. It is never too late to wake up, but you must actually wake up. You cannot simply rearrange the furniture in your prison and call it freedom. You must examine every single thing you are doing and ask, Is this mine? Did I choose this? Does this serve my life, or am I serving it? Most of what you do not need to do. Most of what you think is obligation is actually habit. And habits can be broken. Let me tell you about a young man I knew. His story is different, but the lesson is the same. He was brilliant, vigorous, full of promise. 23 years old when I met him. He had just started building his career, and he was already successful. People were noticing him. He had opportunities. He had his whole life ahead of him. And because he believed that, because he thought time was abundant, he was in no hurry to live. "I will travel when I am older," he said to me once. "I will see the world when I have established myself. Right now, I need to focus on my career. I will read philosophy when I have time," he said. "But first I need to build my wealth. I will repair my relationship with my father," he said. "We have not spoken in 2 years, but I will fix it after I prove myself. After I show him I am successful." Everything was postponed. Everything was pushed to later. Later, when I have time. Later, when I am ready. Later, when conditions are perfect. Then a fever came, quick and merciless. In Rome, these fevers would sweep through neighborhoods like a dark wind. The young and old were most vulnerable, but anyone could be taken. Within 3 days, he was delirious. Within a week, he was dead. 26 years old. His father found me at the funeral. We had never met, but he knew I had been teaching his son. He asked if his son had said anything about him before he died. I told him the truth. "Your son spoke of you often. He planned to reconcile with you. He was writing you a letter." The father's face crumpled. "Where is this letter? Can I see it?" I had to tell him. It was never finished. It was found among his things. A draft. Unfinished. "Your son thought he had time." The father showed me the letter later. It said all the things a son wants to say to his father. "I am sorry. I miss you. I want to make things right. Can we talk?" Simple things. Things that take 5 minutes to say. But his son kept refining the letter, waiting for the right moment, the right words, the right conditions. And then there was no time left. This is what haunts me still. How many of you are writing letters you will never send? How many conversations are you postponing? How many people in your life do you keep meaning to call, to visit, to tell them what they mean to you, but you are waiting for the right time? There is no right time. There is only now, and now is running out for all of us, whether we are 26 or 66. I see this everywhere I look. People living as if they have forever, planning for a future that is not guaranteed while ignoring a present that is slipping away. Later, they say. Someday, when I have time. But later is a thief. It steals today by promising tomorrow, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. I am not being morbid when I say this. I am being realistic. Death is not a tragedy that happens to other people. It is a certainty that will happen to you. The only question is when. And if you keep postponing your life until you feel ready, until conditions are perfect, until you have more time, you will run out of time before you run out of reasons to postpone. Let me tell you about Augustus. The divine Augustus, ruler of the known world. A man who could command legions with a word, who shaped the destiny of empires. You would think such a man would have ultimate control over his time. You would be wrong. He came to me once in a state of exhaustion I had rarely seen. This was not physical tiredness, though he was certainly tired. This was something deeper, a weariness of the soul. He had everything a person could want: power, wealth, respect, legacy. And he said to me, with the weariness of someone carrying an unbearable weight. I pray for the day when I can live for myself. Think on this. The most powerful man in the world, who could do literally anything he wished, felt he had no time for himself. I asked him why. Why do you not simply take time for yourself? You are the emperor. Who can stop you? And he looked at me as if I did not understand. The Senate needs me, he said. The army needs me. The people need me. There are decisions that only I can make. If I step away, even for a day, things fall apart. Do you see what happened? He had convinced himself that he was indispensable, that the entire empire depended on his constant attention. And perhaps it did, because he had built it that way. He had never learned to delegate, to trust others, to say no. He had never understood that time given to another is time taken from yourself. He lived at everyone's disposal. Senate, army, citizens, sycophants, petitioners. His calendar was not his own. His hours belonged to Rome. And here is what I told him, what I tell you now. If the emperor himself cannot find time for his own life, what hope is there for any of us? Unless we understand that time is not found. It is claimed. It is guarded. It is protected as zealously as we would protect our last coin, our most precious possession. Because it is. You can earn more money. You can gain more influence. You can acquire more things. But you cannot earn more time. Once an hour is gone, it is gone forever. You cannot buy it back. You cannot borrow it. You cannot steal it from someone else. It is the only truly non-renewable resource. And yet, look how carelessly you spend it. I asked Augustus, what would happen if you took one day, just one day, for yourself? And he could not answer, because he had never considered it. The idea of taking a day for himself, of doing nothing that served Rome, seemed impossible, irresponsible even. And I said to him, you are going to die someday, perhaps soon, perhaps in 30 years. But you will die. And when that day comes, do you want to look back and realize you spent every single day serving others and not one day serving yourself? He had no answer for that either. Now let me tell you my story. I will not pretend I learned this easily. For years, decades even, I was as blind as anyone. I filled my days with business that felt important but meant nothing. I said yes to every request, every invitation, every claim on my attention. I thought I was being generous. I thought I was being dutiful. I was being cowardly. I was afraid to face my own life. Do you know what happens when you fill every moment with other people's concerns? You never have to confront your own. You never have to sit with yourself and ask the hard questions. Who am I? What do I actually want? Is this how I want to spend my life? As long as you are busy, you can avoid these questions. But avoiding the questions does not make them go away. They just wait, growing larger, until one day you cannot avoid them anymore. For me, that day came when I was exiled, torn from Rome, from my position, from everything I thought defined me, sent to a desolate island where there was nothing to do, no one to impress, no role to perform. And there, in that emptiness, something extraordinary happened. I woke up. For the first time in decades, I had nothing to do, no court to attend, no speeches to give, no clients demanding my attention, just me and the question I had spent my entire life avoiding: who am I when I am not performing? It was terrifying at first. When you have spent your whole life being busy, silence feels like drowning. Your mind races. You feel like you should be doing something, anything. You feel guilty for just sitting. You feel lazy for just being. but I had no choice. There was nothing to do on that island, no distractions available. So I sat with my discomfort, and slowly, gradually, the terror gave way to something else. Peace. I began to read, not to impress anyone, but because I wanted to. I picked up texts I had always meant to study, but never had time for, and I read them slowly, carefully, thinking about each idea, letting it settle. Not rushing to finish so I could say I had read them, but actually reading them, actually thinking. I began to write, not for publication, but to understand my own mind. I would take my thoughts, these scattered, anxious thoughts, and I would organize them on paper, and in organizing them, I would see them clearly for the first time. I walked along the shore and noticed the sea. I had seen the sea 1,000 times in my life, but I had never truly noticed it, never watched the way the light changes on the water, never listened to the rhythm of the waves, never felt the way the wind carries salt spray. Now I had time for these things, or rather, I had always had time. But now I was conscious of it, and I realized something that changed everything. I have been alive for 50 years, and I have barely lived 5 of them. Everything I thought was urgent, it was not. Everything I thought I had to do, I did not. I had spent decades being busy so I would not have to be present, because being present means being aware of your life. And being aware of your life means accepting that it will end. I had filled every moment with noise, so I would not have to hear the silence that whispers, "You are going to die. How are you spending the time you have left?" When I returned to Rome, I returned as a different man. I no longer said yes to everything. I no longer filled every moment with activity. I learned something that transformed my life, and I will now share it with you. Most of what you think you must do, you do not. Most of what fills your time serves someone else's purpose, not yours. And the moment you become conscious of this, truly conscious, you are free. These stories are not merely tales from my life or the lives of people I have known. They are mirrors, and if you are honest, if you truly look, you will see yourself in them. You are the wealthy man, accumulating things you do not need. You are the young man, postponing your life until later. You are the emperor, trapped by your own importance. You are me before my exile, filling your days with noise, so you do not have to face the silence. Now, let me show you what I learned, not just from my mistakes, but from years of observing this strange disease that afflicts us all. The disease of unconscious living. Listen carefully. I am not saying you should work harder or manage your time better. I am saying something far more radical. Most of the activities that fill your day should not be there at all. Let me be specific, because generalizations help no one. How much time did you spend this week on things you actively chose that served your own life, your own values, your own growth as a human being? I do not mean things you had to do. I mean things you genuinely wanted to do. Things that when you were doing them, you felt alive, present, like, yes, this is how I want to spend my life. For most of you, the answer is almost none. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 if you are lucky. Out of 168 hours in a week, you spend maybe 2 on things you actually chose. Everything else is obligation, duty, expectation, habit, distraction. You spend your time like a man paying tribute to 100 different masters. A little here for your employer, who demands your best hours, your clearest thinking. A little there for your family's expectations, not their actual needs, but their expectations of who you should be and what you should do. Some more for social obligations, events you do not want to attend but feel you must. Some for maintaining an image, doing things not because you want to, but because of what people will think if you do not. Some for distractions you do not even enjoy, scrolling through feeds that make you feel worse, watching shows you are not actually interested in, filling silence with noise because silence makes you uncomfortable. And what is left? Scraps. Exhaustion. The leftover moments when you are too tired to do anything meaningful anyway, and then you wonder why life feels empty. Here is the truth you must face, and it is a hard truth, but it is also a liberating one. No one is taking your time. You are giving it away. Freely. Constantly. Without even noticing. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you have given away your time. Every time you attend to someone else's urgency before your own necessity, you have given away your time. Every time you scroll, distract yourself, fill silence with noise, because you are afraid of what you might hear in the quiet, you have given away your time. The problem is not that you need more hours. 24 hours is enough. It is more than enough if you use them consciously. The problem is that you do not command the hours you have. You let them be commanded by everyone and everything else. You pride yourself on being busy. I have no time, you say. And there is almost a boast in it. Listen to how people talk about their busyness. I am so busy, they say, with a strange pride. I barely have time to breathe. I am drowning in work. As if busyness were virtue. As if exhaustion were proof of importance. As if being pulled in 1,000 directions meant you were needed, valuable, essential. But let me tell you what I see. I see people running everywhere and arriving nowhere. I see people cramming their calendars so full there is no space left to breathe, let alone to think, to reflect, to simply be. And they believe they are accomplishing something. They are not. They are fleeing. Busyness is a kind of laziness, lazy thinking and indiscriminate action. It is easier to be busy than to ask yourself what actually matters. It is easier to respond to every demand, every notification, every little fire than to sit down and determine, what is my life for? What do I want to be true about how I spent my days? What do I want to have mattered when I am old and looking back? These are hard questions. They require sitting still. They require thinking. They require being honest with yourself about whether you are living your life or performing someone else's idea of what your life should be. So instead of asking these questions, you stay busy. You convince yourself that one day, when things calm down, when you are less busy, then you will think about these things. But things never calm down. There is always something else demanding your attention. The busiest people I have known were often the most unhappy. Let me tell you why. Because beneath all that activity was an emptiness they dared not face. They had built their entire identity around being busy, being needed, being indispensable. If they stopped being busy, who would they be? What would be left? That question terrified them. So they kept moving, kept doing, kept distracting. If you never stop moving, you never have to notice that you are running in circles. If you fill every moment with noise, you never have to hear the silence asking, is this really how you want to spend your one precious life? Being busy makes you feel important. Being present makes you free. Choose. You know you are going to die. Of course you know. Everyone knows. It is the one certainty in life. But you do not live as if you know. You live as if you have forever. You live as if there will always be tomorrow to do the things you keep postponing today. Let me ask you something. If you truly understood, not intellectually, but in your bones, in your gut, in every cell of your body, that this day might be your last, would you spend it the way you are planning to spend it? Really think about this. If you knew, truly knew, that you would die tonight, would you spend today the way you were planning to? Would you attend that meeting that serves no purpose except to make someone feel important? Would you spend an hour scrolling through the lives of people you do not know, feeling inadequate because their highlight reel looks better than your reality? Would you hold on to that grudge, that resentment, that anger that is eating you from the inside? Would you delay that apology you know you need to make? Would you postpone that conversation you have been avoiding? Of course not. And yet you do these things because you have convinced yourself of a lie. I have time. You do not know that. No one does. The young man I told you about, he thought he had decades. He had days. The wealthy man thought he would eventually slow down and enjoy his life. He ran out of energy before he ran out of years. Augustus thought he would live for himself later, after he had secured Rome. He died still waiting for that day to come. This is what I mean when I say you do not lack time. You lack awareness. Every morning you wake, you are given a gift. One more day. And most of you do not even notice. You do not receive the day. You just stumble through it, half asleep, waiting for it to be over so you can get to tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you do the same thing. Every night you should ask yourself, did I receive today? Or did I let it slip through my fingers while I attended to trivialities? Did I live today, or did I merely survive it? Did I do one thing, just one thing, that mattered to me, that I chose, that I will remember? Or did I give away every hour to demands and distractions and the endless noise of modern life? Here is what changes everything. When you truly understand that your time is finite and unknown, you stop wasting it. Not because you become frantic, rushing around trying to do everything before you die. No. You become clear, calm even, because you realize that most of what you thought mattered does not matter at all. The petty concerns vanish. The need to impress people you do not respect disappears. The urgency to accumulate things you do not need fades away. What remains is simple. What do I actually want to do with this day? Who do I want to be? How do I want to feel when I lay down to sleep tonight? You stop pretending that someday matters more than today. You stop treating this moment as a dress rehearsal for some future life. This is it. This is your life, right now. Will you meet it, or will you keep waiting for a better time that never comes? Your mind is like a vessel. Picture a beautiful jar, finely crafted, meant to hold precious things. This jar represents your life, your experience, your memories, the moments that make up a life lived. Now, most of you are pouring your life into a cracked vessel. You receive experience, beautiful experiences, precious moments, but you do not retain them. They pass right through. You do not absorb them. They do not settle into memory, into meaning, into the substance of a life lived. Why? Because you are never fully present. You are always somewhere else, planning the next thing, reviewing the last thing, worrying about the future, regretting the past, anywhere but here. This is what I call being preoccupied. Not merely busy, but occupied by concerns that pull you away from your own life. You sit with your child and they are telling you something important to them, but your mind is at work, rehearsing a presentation, worrying about a deadline. You are at work, but your mind is at home, rehearsing an argument you had last night, or planning what you will say tonight to fix things. You are never where you are. You eat without tasting, walk without seeing, speak without listening, live without being present to your own life. And then you wonder where your life went. Where did the time go? How did my children grow up so fast? When did I get old? It feels like it happened overnight. It did not happen overnight. It happened day by day, moment by moment, while you were mentally somewhere else. A tranquil mind, a mind that is truly present, retains everything. It absorbs the richness of each moment. It lives one life, deeply, instead of skimming across many experiences without touching any of them. What does this look like practically? It means when you are with someone, you are with them, not checking your messages, not thinking about what you need to do next, not composing your response while they are still speaking, actually listening, actually present. It means when you are eating, you taste the food, you notice the flavors, the textures, you appreciate the meal. It means when you are walking, you feel your feet on the ground, you notice the air on your skin, you see what is around you. You do not walk while lost in thought, arriving at your destination with no memory of how you got there. This is perhaps the most important lesson, so listen closely. You have been lied to, by society, by your own habits, by the voices in your head that tell you what you should do. And the lie is this: you have no choice. I have to go to this job. I have to say yes to this person. I have to keep up with these obligations. Do you, really, or have you simply never questioned it? I am not saying quit your job tomorrow. I am not saying abandon your responsibilities. I am saying something more subtle and more important. Examine them, hold them up to the light and ask, is this truly necessary? Or is this something I continue doing because I started doing it and I have never stopped to reconsider? Most people live by inertia. They make a choice once, often when they were very young or very afraid, and then they live as if that choice is permanent, unchangeable, written in stone. It is not, you took this job 10 years ago because you needed money. Do you still need to be there? Or are you staying because leaving feels hard, because you have not looked at other options, because it is easier to stay than to change? You say yes to this person every time they ask, because you said yes the first time, and now it is a pattern. But do you want to say yes, or do you say yes out of guilt, out of obligation, out of fear of disappointing them? These are very different things. Here is what I want you to understand. You are not trapped. You are only convinced you are trapped, which is far worse, because a man who does not realize he is in a prison at least does not despair. But you think the door is locked when you have never actually tried to open it. You assume the bars are real when many of them are just shadows, habits of thinking, beliefs you have never questioned. I will give you a simple practice. For 1 week, notice every time you say or think, I have to. Then ask yourself, do I? Or am I choosing to, perhaps for good reasons, perhaps not, but choosing nonetheless? This is not semantics. This is liberation, because the moment you realize you are choosing, you reclaim your power. You will not wake up once and stay awake. I wish I could tell you otherwise. I wish I could tell you that you will hear my words today, you will understand, and from this moment forward, you will live consciously every moment of every day. But that is not how it works. Consciousness is not a destination you arrive at. It is a practice you must return to, again and again, every day, multiple times a day. This is why I examine myself each night. Before I sleep, I review my day, not to punish myself, not to feel guilty about my failures, but to ask, where was I present today? Where did I drift into unconsciousness? What claimed my attention that did not deserve it? What did I neglect that mattered? This practice keeps me honest. It prevents me from sleepwalking through years without noticing. You must do the same. Not because you are broken and need fixing. You are not broken. You are human. And humans have a tendency to drift into unconsciousness. It is natural. The world is designed to pull you into distraction. Every message, every notification, every advertisement, Every bright and shiny thing is engineered to steal your attention, and attention is life itself. Where your attention goes, your life goes. Protect it. Guard it fiercely. Return to it constantly. When you notice you have drifted, and you will notice many times a day, simply return. Do not judge yourself. Simply come back to this moment, this breath, this singular, unrepeatable instant. Now you understand the principles, but understanding alone changes nothing. Knowing is not the same as doing. You could memorize everything I have said today, and your life would not change at all unless you practice. So, let me give you what you came for. Specific, daily practices that will help you wake up and stay awake. These are not complicated. They require no special equipment, no money, no permission from anyone. They require only your decision to be present to your own life. Every morning, before you open your eyes, before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your to-do list, ask yourself this question. I have been given one more day. How will I meet it? Not what do I have to do, but how do I want to meet this day? What quality of attention do I want to bring? Do I want to rush through it, getting everything done but experiencing nothing? Or do I want to be present, even if I accomplish less? This simple question sets your intention. It reminds you that you are not merely responding to demands, you are choosing how to live. You can write your answer down if it helps. You can speak it aloud. But ask the question daily. Make it a ritual. The way you start your day shapes the entire day. You will tell me you have no time. I do not believe you. You have time for everything that is truly important to you. You say you have no time to exercise, but you have time to scroll for an hour. You say you have no time to read, but you have time to watch television. You say you have no time for yourself, but you have time to attend to everyone else's needs. So, here is what I ask. Find 1 hour, just one, that belongs only to you. Not to your employer, not to your family, not to your obligations. 1 hour where you do exactly what you want, with full attention and no guilt. Read something you actually want to read. Walk somewhere you want to walk. Sit in silence if that is what calls to you. Write, draw, think, whatever. It does not matter what you do. What matters is that you do it consciously, for yourself, without apology. This hour is not selfish. Listen to me carefully. This hour is not selfish. It is essential. It is the hour in which you remember you are not merely a function, a role, a means to someone else's end. You are a human being with a life of your own. You have inner worlds, dreams, thoughts, longings that deserve attention. If you never give them attention, they wither, you wither. And then you wonder why you feel empty, why nothing satisfies you. Guard this hour as you would guard your life, because it is your life. Each night, before sleep, examine your day. Sit quietly. Ask yourself 3 questions. When was I most present today? Think back through your day and find the moment when you were most alive, most conscious, most here. Maybe it was a conversation where you were really listening. Maybe it was a meal you actually tasted. Maybe it was a walk where you noticed the sky. Find that moment. Remember it. Savor it. Let it settle into your memory. This is what living feels like. When did I drift into unconsciousness? No judgment here, just observation. Where did you lose yourself today? Maybe it was in the morning when you immediately reached for your phone. Maybe it was in a conversation where you were thinking about your response instead of listening. Notice it. That is all. Just notice. The noticing itself begins to change things. If I had known this morning that this day was all I had, what would I have done differently? This question cuts deep. Let it. If you had woken this morning knowing you would die tonight, what would you have changed? Here is a practice for when you feel overwhelmed. Choose one thing. Just one. The most important thing you could do today. Not the most urgent, not the loudest, the most important. Do that thing with your full attention. Then, and only then, move to the next thing. Most of you try to do everything at once, which means you do nothing well and feel frantic the entire time. Stop. One thing. Fully. Then the next. This is not slower. It is sane. Once a week, sit down with your calendar. Look at how you spent your time, not how you planned to spend it, how you actually spent it. Then ask, how much of this week was spent on things I actively chose? You will be shocked by what you find. Then choose one thing to remove. One meeting that serves no purpose. One commitment you have been carrying out of guilt or habit. One distraction you will consciously eliminate. Do this every week. Gradually, you will reclaim your life. This is the most important practice. Once a day, pause and remind yourself, I am going to die. Perhaps today. Almost certainly sooner than I think. Not to become morbid, but to become alive. When you truly remember your mortality, everything clarifies. The petty concerns vanish, the grudges seem absurd. What remains is this. You have this moment, this breath, this one precious, irreplaceable day. How will you spend it? This practice is not about fear. It is about clarity. It is about living with the awareness that your time is the only thing you truly own. So here we are, at the end of this teaching. But it is not an end. It is a beginning. Or it can be, if you choose. You came here thinking you needed more time. I hope you now understand. You need consciousness. You need to wake up to the life you are already living. The practices I have shared are not complicated. They require only one thing: the decision to be present to your own life. Most people will not do this. They will nod, agree, perhaps even feel moved, and then return to exactly how they were living before. Because waking up is uncomfortable, it means facing what you have been avoiding. It means accepting that no one is coming to save you. You must do that yourself. Remember these truths. You do not lack time. You waste it, give it away, spend it unconsciously, reclaim it. Being busy is not the same as being alive. Stop confusing motion with meaning. You are dying right now, not someday. Now. Every moment you postpone living is a moment you lose forever. Most of what you think you must do, you do not. Question everything. Test the bars of your cage. Most of them are not real. Waking up is not an achievement you reach once. It is a practice you return to daily, moment by moment, again and again. I leave you with this. You have been given one life. One. Not a practice life, not a warm-up. This is it. And you are spending it right now, in this moment. Will you spend it unconsciously, serving everyone else's agenda, waiting for a better time that never comes? Or will you wake up, today, this moment, and meet your life while it is still here? The choice has always been yours. It remains yours now. Choose awareness, choose presence, choose to live before you die. If this teaching resonated with you, I ask 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel. I will continue to share what I have learned about living well, about the examined life, about waking up to your own existence. Second, if this stirred something in you, press the like button, not for me, but so that others who need to hear this can find it. Third, and this is most important, leave a comment below. Tell me, which practice will you begin today? What one thing will you change? When did you realize you had been sleepwalking through your own life? Your words help others wake up too. We are all in this together, all trying to live consciously in a world designed to keep us asleep. Now, go. Not someday. Now. This moment is all you have. Use it well.